अस्सलाम वालेकुम। काइंडली कंफर्म कीजिए ना, मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है आपको? ओके, थैंक यू। So just wait for a few minutes to the other students to join. Okay. Meanwhile, I will share the screen for today's lecture. Okay, kindly confirm that you are able to see the screen of my computer. Okay. Thank you very much for confirmation. So, in today's lecture, we will be studying about the measurement and scaling and quantification. Okay. It is written as the lecture week 2, but it is like in lecture week 2, it is for the applied research method, which is taught to the MBA courses. But for this research methodology course, it is normally taught in the lecture number 8 or lecture number 9. So, as per the sequence, it is our lecture number 9, if I am not wrong, right? Because we already had 7 classes before the midterm, and then we had a midterm, and now this one is your lecture number 8. If you include the midterm, then it is lecture number 9. Without midterm, it is lecture number 8. I will be continuing the lecture both in English and Urdu. It means that it will be mix of English and Urdu, right? Uh, what actually the measurement means? Like measurement means to convert anything in the form of numbers. Okay, to convert anything in the form of numbers. Like for example, we have certain measurements or certain scales which are already defined in this word. Like for example, if we want to uh, weight something, so we have kilogram, or if you want to measure the quantity of something, so we have the liters and all that. In the same way, if you want to measure the distance, so we have the kilometer, meter, and all that. So these are the already defined scaling and measurements. But when we talk about the research, when we talk about the behavior of the people, right, perceptions and all that, so we have a lot of abstract things. तो उन एब्स्ट्रैक्ट थिंग्स को मेजर करने के लिए, उन कॉन्सेप्ट्स को मेजर करने के लिए, और बिहेवियर को, लोगों के बिहेवियर को मेजर करने के लिए, या लोगों की परसेप्शंस को, कि लोग किसी पर्टिकुलर चीज़ के बारे में कैसे सोचते हैं, उसके लिए क्या किया जाता है, मेजरमेंट एंड स्केलिंग की जाती है। ठीक है ना। अब इसके अंदर हमें जो आज के लेक्चर में हम जो चीज़ें पढ़ेंगे, व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी इन टुडेज लेक्चर, that will be the nature of data, type of data, scales, type of scales, primary versus secondary data, methods of primary data collection, tools of quantitative data collection. Then we will be discussing about the scales, comparative scaling, non-comparative scaling, and multi-item scaling. So inshallah we will try to study all of the contents in today's lecture. If we are not able to cover these contents in today's lecture, so the remaining part will be uh, taught in the next week's class, right? Because you know that we have only two Zoom sessions, 40 of 40 minutes each, right? Okay, so let's move to the next slide. It talks about the types of data. So on and off in the classes earlier or later, we have already discussed about the two types of data, that is a quantitative data and qualitative data. And in the quantitative data, we have discussed about the discrete and the continuous data, and you have been given certain examples regarding the discrete and continuous data, and also about the qualitative data, that is the categorical and textual data. So any one of you can please tell me shortly about the difference between the discrete and the continuous data. Yes, students, you can turn on your mic, and you can say if possible for you, otherwise you can type in the chat box if it is feasible for you guys. And those who are not speaking actually, or who don't want to speak right now, so please keep your mics off, so that we should not get any sort of extra noise uh, in our recording. So later on, when those students who have missed a complete or a part of the lecture, they can easily watch this lecture, or later on for your revision, because you can use the recording of this lecture. Okay, so please turn off your mic if you are not using, and if you want to answer, so please use the mic to answer this particular question, or you can use your chat box, please.
सर, जिसको सिर्फ होल नंबर में एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं वो डिस्क्रीट डेटा होगा, और जो फ्रैक्शनल नंबर में होता है वो कंटीन्यूअस डेटा होता है।
Okay, who is this?
फिजा।
Okay, Fiza, thank you. Yes, Fiza, you are right. Okay. And any one of you other than Fiza, qualitative, okay? Like categorical and textual. What is the difference between the categorical and textual data? Yes, anyone? Categorical and textual data. Okay, let me tell you. Categorical data is actually uh, the data like where we have the different characteristics of the subjects, or we ask about the different characteristics of the subjects, and then we categorize them. Like for example, uh, if you have a question about the gender, so there are two categories like male and female. Okay, so these are the qualitative factors, right? These are the qualitative characteristics, but there are the categories like in the same way, like if you talk about the degree programs like BBA program, BS Commerce program, uh, BS Accounting and Finance, BBA, MBA. So these are the categories of the students by the program. So we can also call it the qualitative characteristics, right? Uh, in the in the same way, we have the like qualifications, different qualifications, the level of qualifications like school education, higher education, right? Like this, university education and all that. So these are the categories. These can be the categories, and like the categories can be like in the geographical distribution, such as the like he's from the south, he's from the east or west part of some province or city. You name the cities you belong to or your addresses, your areas, they are all the they all can be the categorical data if you are categorizing them. Then when we talk about the textual data, so the textual data is in the form of text, okay? And when you take the interview from some person and he is answering you in detail, so definitely the text will be created from that particular data, that is called again the qualitative data, right? However, when you are taking the interview from some person and you are going to record it, so later on what happens that after recording it, you have to transcribe it, okay? Like transcribing means that whatever you are listening from the uh, from that recorded interview, you will actually type the wording of the interviewer and interviewee both, okay? That is called the transcription, okay? And the document which you have done, that is called the transcribe, or the act is also called the transcribing act, okay? So this was about the data which we have already discussed. Then we have the primary versus secondary data. So you must be having the idea that the primary data is actually collected for the problem at hand, and it is collected for the first time. While the secondary data is a data which has already been collected for the purpose other than the problem, but you are actually using it for your current research, and it is that it can be located quickly and inexpensively, because you are actually not collecting it directly because already collected, so you are just using it, so it is not much expensive and you can quickly get that data, because the primary data collection takes time, but when the data is already secondary already collected, so this secondary data can be directly used, so it does not take too much time. Then we have the resources of the data. We have the primary resources of the data, and we have the resources for the secondary data compilation. Okay, so in primary we do the data collection. In secondary we do the data compilation. So in primary data, the data collection can be done through observations, through survey, through experimentation, and observation. Okay. Survey is nothing but like collecting the data through the questionnaire, surveying many people and taking the responses from them. So you already understand that you take the appointment from the certain people and then you interview them, right? For experimentation, you have like certain tools with you, or you have certain interventions, and then you try to do the experimentation. The experimentation in the business management or the commerce related fields can be like doing some intervention, and then you record something uh, before doing some intervention, and then you record uh, the results after some intervention, okay? That is the experimentation which can be done in the business management and the commerce and all that, okay? Then we talk about the observation. In observation, what actually the researcher do, he try to observe the subjects, their behavior and all that, okay? and then he records. So this is again the primary data. While in secondary data, you either get the data from the print or the electronic means if the data is already printed somewhere or electronically available in the form of CDs or in the form of the computer soft copy files. Okay, because these days the floppy disk are not used, but other types of disks are available, and you are much aware of that. So I am not going into the depth of the electronic means. However, the most famous electronic ways of collecting data these days is the internet. Okay, so when we want to compare the primary and secondary data, so the collection purpose, from the collection purpose, what is the difference between the primary and secondary data? So for the primary data, we collect the primary data. The purpose of the primary data collection is for the problem at hand. Like आपको इस वक्त जो प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, करंटली जो प्रॉब्लम हो रही है, उसके लिए आप डेटा कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, उसको प्राइमरी डेटा कहेंगे. जबकि सेकेंडरी डेटा किसी और प्रॉब्लम के लिए यूज हुआ था, लेकिन अब ये आपकी प्रॉब्लम से भी रिलेट कर रहा है, तो आप उसको यूज कर सकते हैं. कलेक्शन पर्पस के हिसाब से अगर हम देखें, तो फ्रॉम द कलेक्शन पर्पस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, the researcher is much involved, or this process is actually much needs a lot of involvement from the person who is actually collecting the data. While when you talk about the secondary data, so it's quite easy to collect, it is rapid, it is quick. Okay, because you do not have to be much involved in collecting that secondary data, right? Because you do not have directly to uh, talk to your subjects and all that, because the data is already available. While in primary data, you have to talk to the subject, you have to follow them again and again if you are collecting the data through the questionnaire, or if you are taking the interviews. So then it is difficult to take their appointment and all that. Okay, then collection cost in primary data is high, and the secondary data is relatively low, because you know that in primary data, like if you have the questionnaire, so you will get the questionnaire printed, and you will then send the questionnaire to your uh, respondents and all that. However, it depends, because earlier the people used to send these questionnaires through the mails, through the postage. Okay, but these days the people are using emails and the Google links and all that, and there are also other ways to do the surveys and all that. So then in that case, the cost is not that much high; it is low. However, if you are taking the interviews and all that, and you have to travel far away for taking the interviews, so then the cost can be high. But again, if you take the interview through video conferencing and all that, so the cost will be low. So it depends that what means you are actually using, and how uh, like uh, what actually is the demand of that particular data collection, that either you have to sit face to face, or you can take online and all that. So it depends upon the means you are using for collecting the data, right? So as far as the cost is concerned, because these days we have a lot of technological advancement, so then the things can be changed. So we cannot stuck at something which is given in some slide or in a book, because these books were published earlier, which we are using actually the slides from, right? So in today's scenario, there have been a lot of technological changes, and a lot of facilities are available through online means. So in that way, the cost has been reduced. When we talk about the collection time, yes, for the primary data it takes long time, and for the secondary data it takes the shorter time. Okay, then use of the secondary data. So for secondary data can be used to identify the problem. Like if you already have uh, the data available, the data of the interviews, or even the numerical data in the form of like the balance sheet data, in the form of the income statement data, or other types of data like the sales data or the distribution data, when talking about the distribution and all that marketing type of things, right? So whatever the data is available, from that data you can trace the problems. If you are able if you are finding some problem, so you can identify the problem from the secondary data, right? Or if the problem is already identified, then from the secondary data you can better define the problem, right? You can also develop an approach to the problem if you have the secondary data. You can formulate appropriate research design. For example, like what your key variables are going to be and all that, right? You can answer such certain research questions and test some hypotheses as well from the secondary data. Like if the secondary data is numerical, so then you can easily come up with the hypothesis. You can test the hypothesis from the quantitative point of view, and you can also answer your research questions if that data is particularly related to your research questions. Okay, then interpret primary data more insightfully. Like if you have taken some primary data and you want to link the result of the primary data to the secondary data, so again the secondary data will be much helpful for you guys to provide the interpretation of the results from the primary data, right? These were some uses of the primary data. Then whenever we have the availability of the secondary data, so we should be also keeping in your mind that in our mind that what criteria we will evaluate the secondary data, right? Like is that data good or not, right? So there are a lot of things related to that criteria. Like mainly we have the specifications. What does the specification means? That methodology used to collect data, means how did they collect the data, from how many people they have collected the data, what was the sample size, like either they collected the data using a questionnaire or they have collected the data by the observation or any other ways, right? Then uh, we have to see that either this data is free of the errors or not, right? There are no errors, there should not be error, the data should be accurate. So how much accurate is the data? Then we have to look at the currency of the data. Currency means like is the data uh, was the data collected currently, means recently, or it is uh, very much historical data. Like for example, if you want to make the market strategy for a particular product in today's world, like about the internet, you can say internet services, for example, in 2021, we are sitting in 2021, and if we use the internet usage or data usage pattern of the people which was collected, for example, in 2015, okay, so then that data will not be current data, and that 2015 data will be useless for us in 2021, because the using pattern of the internet and all these things, the technologies have been completely changed in these 5 6 years, right? So the data should be current data. Actually, you have to be very much careful that when that data was collected. So it depends. Like for example, these days the COVID is going on, for example, and if you want to do the research for COVID, and you provide the data for Pakistan, in the earlier in the last the months of 2019. So at that time, we did not have any cases of COVID in 2019. So if we take the global data of the last quarter of 2019, then we will not find Pakistan anywhere over there. Okay, but if you take the data of 2021, then you will see that we have a lot of cases of 2021. So it depends, right? So like what type of data you have or what is actually your research question. Hopefully that is clear to you. Then you have to look at the purpose for which the data was collected, like the objective of the data, like for what purpose the data was collected. Sometimes the purpose can be match with the purpose of you, or it is not completely uh, different from the purpose you want to use that data. But if the purpose is completely different and there are a lot of specifications while you are like related to the objective of collecting the data, then you have to be very much careful for using the data, because if a particular data is collected from a certain objective point of view, then that data may not be useful for you, right? Then uh, the nature of the data, it means that what contents are available in the data. We have the demographic information of the people, we have certain variables. So is are these variables useful for us or not, right? And if this data is not directly useful for us, can we prepare that data for our particular use or not? Okay, and then again it can be like the contents of the data are in the form of numbers or in the form of text, or the measurement the particular unit used for that, like the data about the like the accounting data is in millions, billions, or what, and is it usable for us or not, right? It depends. Okay, the frequency of the data is also important, like either the data is collected on the daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, or yearly basis. It is also important. Then we talk about the dependability of the data. It means that how overall the data is dependable. Like we can depend on this data or not. Overall, from the specification point of view, from error point of view, like accuracy, currency, purposefulness, and the nature of the data. All these things are okay. It means that the overall dependability of the data is fine, and we can use that particular data for our particular research. Okay. So these criteria, their issues and the remarks, almost all of the things we have already discussed. So this slide can be read at your own. You can read this particular slide at your own later on, because I will be sharing this PPT presentation as well as the recording. However, most of the things I have already discussed in the previous slide. Okay. Then we have the classification of the secondary data. So from the classification point of view, we have the internal data and the external data. The internal data is ready to use, while either it can be ready to use or it can require the further processing. So if it is ready to use, it means that all the variables are fine according to your according to your requirement in the whatever you want. Like for example, you want the ratio data and the data is also already in the form of data, then you it is ready to use, you can directly use it. But if the individual figures are available and the ratios are not available, for example, and you want to uh, convert them into the ratios, or you have, like for example, certain components, the data about certain components is given but the total is not given. Like for example, you want to know the total assets of the company, and the assets have been classified but the total is not given, so then you have to total them. Okay, and such sort of other further processing can be done. Like if you want the data in the form of percentage, not in the form of dollar values, so again it requires the processing, right? Then we have the external uh, data. The external data can be the published material, can be the computerized database, can be the syndicated services. Published material, like already published in some magazine or newspaper or some gazette issued by some government authority or private means. Okay, computerized database is available in the form of computer soft copy, right? And then syndicated services are the specific services, either they collect the data and they advertise it that they have the certain data. You can purchase the data from them, or you can also hire them to collect your data. Okay, it depends. These are called the syndicated services, right? The third parties which are providing you the data, these are called the syndicated services. Then in the published data, you have the journal business sources, like guides are available, directories, indexes, statistical data. In the government sources, you have the census data, you have the other government publications available, okay, or publications by the government, the ministries of the government, and the other government authorities, right? In computerized databases, you have online, you have internet, you have offline, right? So like these online, internet, and offline, you already understand. However, when we talk about the data from the internet, we know that there is the data available about the bibliography. Bibliography is what? Nothing but the references. Okay, that is called the bibliographic databases, where you can find the references of different books, research papers, research journals, and all that. You have numeric databases, like which provides you the statistical and numerical data about the macroeconomic data or any other accounting and finance data, right? Or any data related to the economics like population, uh, availability of the resources, and all other economic variables. Then you have full text databases. These databases are related to the research papers and the theses and all that. Okay, like you have already searched a lot of research papers while we were doing different uh, activities in the class for writing the literature review or to find out the topics or to understand the hypotheses and frameworks and all that. So you have also searched the full text. Full text means that a full research paper, full research article is available. And if only the abstract is available, so that is not full text, right? Now you are already aware of this. Then we have directory database, like this can be the telephone directory, this can be the directory of the graduates from one university, this can be the directory of the PhD in particular fields, like categorize. Okay, it can be the directory of the MBBS doctors, dentists, it can be the directory of like accounting service providers, right? Auditors, any type of directory can be there. Then there can be any special purpose database. If a database has been uh, created for any special purpose, there can also be the computerized database. Hopefully you got it. So if you have any question until now, please let me know. If you have any question, please let me know. Am I audible to you? Students, am I audible to you? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so now let's continue for the measurement and scaling. So as I told you earlier that what is actually the measurement? So measurement means assigning numbers or other symbols to the characteristics of the objects according to certain pre-specified rules. Okay, like it is like if we have certain characteristics, I have also given you the examples in the class as well. Like when we have the say the questions and you have the particular number of multiple choices like agree, strongly disagree, and all that. So we assign them the numbers, okay, and the number assignment is already pre-specified. Means पहले से हम क्या करते हैं कि ये डिसाइड कर लेते हैं कि अगर इस ऑप्शन पे लगाएगा रिस्पोंडेंट तो हम इसको वन असाइन करेंगे, एक पर्टिकुलर ऑप्शन पे टिक करेगा तो हम उसको टू असाइन करेंगे एंड सो ऑन, ठीक है ना। इसको कहा जाता है प्री स्पेसिफाइड रूल, ठीक है। अच्छा, जब हम प्री स्पेसिफाइड रूल्स की बात करते हैं, मेजरमेंट क्वांटिफिकेशन की बात करते हैं, तो इसके अंदर क्या होता है, वन टू वन कॉरस्पॉन्डेंस होती है बिटवीन द नंबर्स एंड द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बीइंग मेजर्ड। लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर आपने एक क्वेश्चन बनाया है जेंडर का, तो उसमें क्या हो गया, मेल फीमेल, तो मेल को आपने वन असाइन किया, टू आपने असाइन किया फीमेल को, तो एक नंबर एक पर्टिकुलर ऑप्शन के लिए होगा, एक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक के लिए होगा। लाइक इसी तरीके से अगर मैरिटल स्टेटस है तो आप कह सकते हैं कि मैरिड, अनमैरिड और डाइवोर्स्ड फॉर एग्जांपल, तीन हो गए अगर, तो फिर आपके पास जितनी तीन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं तो तीन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के लिए यू हैव गिवन थ्री numbers, right? One to the married, two to the single, and third to the divorced, and all that. Okay. The rules of assigning numbers should be standardized and apply uniformly. It means कि मतलब अगर आपने 500 लोगों से डेटा कलेक्ट किया हुआ है तो रूल्स जो है वो ये चेंज नहीं होने चाहिए. ये सब हर क्वेश्चन के लिए सेम रूल्स ही होने चाहिए, एक स्टैंडर्ड के ऊपर होने चाहिए और उसको आपने यूनिफॉर्मली अप्लाई किया, सबके ऊपर इन द सेम वे अप्लाई किया. अगला पॉइंट भी ऑलमोस्ट यही कह रहा है कि रूल्स मस्ट नॉट चेंज ओवर ऑब्जेक्ट और टाइम. ठीक है ना, तो रूल्स आपके चेंज नहीं होने चाहिए. हर उसके लिए हर क्वेश्चन जो आपने एक पर्टिकुलर रिसर्च के लिए कलेक्ट किया है तो उसमें सेम होना चाहिए. ठीक है. स्केलिंग क्या होती है? स्केलिंग एक्चुअल में होती है कंटिन्यूम क्रिएट करना. कंटिन्यूम क्रिएट करना क्या मतलब होता है? लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल कोई ऐसी चीज़, कोई आप ऐसा क्वेश्चन पूछे जिसमें लोगों का आप एटीट्यूड मालूम करना चाह रहे हैं, उनका बिहेवियर मालूम करना चाह रहे हैं. ठीक है ना. तो अब जैसे कि आप आप कहते हैं कि लाइक एक सर्विस है, सर्विस के बारे में आपने पूछा कि भाई सर्विस जो है वो उसकी कैसी है, इज़ द सर्विस फेवरेबल और नॉट. ठीक है ना. तो एक तो तरीका ये हो सकता था कि सामने वाला जो है, जो रिस्पोंडेंट है, वो कह देता है यस या वो कह देता नो, लेकिन इसके दरमियान में भी कुछ होता है, राइट. तो स्केलिंग का ये फायदा होता है कि ये आपको कंटिन्यूम प्रोवाइड कर देता है. लाइक अगर इसी क्वेश्चन को आपने 1 to 100 का स्केल असाइन कर दिया तो फिर क्या हो जाएगा कि आप इसके एक एंड पे एक्सट्रीमली अनफेवरेबल रख सकते हैं और दूसरी साइड पे आप रख सकते हैं एक्सट्रीमली फेवरेबल. अब जितना एक्सट्रीमली फेवरेबल की तरफ जाएंगे तो आपके नंबर जो है वो बढ़ते चले जाएंगे, 100 की तरफ चले जाएंगे, और जितना अनफेवरेबल की तरफ होंगे तो आपका नंबर जो है वो 1 की तरफ चला जाएगा. ठीक है. अच्छा, देन यहाँ पर आप देखेंगे तो यहाँ पर आपके पास जो है वो प्राइमरी स्केल्स ऑफ मेजरमेंट है. प्राइमरी स्केल्स ऑफ मेजरमेंट 4 स्केल्स होते हैं, जिनमें एक आपके पास है नॉमिनल, ऑर्डिनल, इंटरवल एंड रेशियो स्केल. ठीक है ना. नॉमिनल स्केल में क्या होता है? नॉमिनल स्केल में एक्चुअल में हम जो नंबर असाइन करते हैं, इट इज जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन. ठीक है ना. ये किसके लिए होता है? आइडेंटिफिकेशन के लिए होता है. लाइक आपके रोल नंबर्स हो गए, आपके रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर, इनरोलमेंट नंबर, सीट नंबर, गाड़ियों के नंबर होते हैं, CNIC के नंबर्स होते हैं. इसी तरीके से कोई भी रिकॉर्ड आप बना रहे हो उसमें आप सीरियल नंबर दे रहे हो, तो ये सारे क्या है? ये एक तरह के नॉमिनल स्केल होते हैं. इसके अलावा नॉमिनल स्केल ये भी होते हैं जिसमें आपने नंबर को असाइन किया है, लेकिन उस नंबर के असाइनमेंट जो है वो जस्ट फॉर किसके लिए है? जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन है, राइट. तो उसको भी हम क्या कहेंगे? उसको भी हम कहेंगे नॉमिनल स्केल. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आपने जेंडर के बारे में कोई क्वेश्चन बनाया, अब जेंडर में आपके पास 2 ऑप्शंस थे, मेल एंड फीमेल. तो अगर आपने 1 असाइन किया है मेल को, 2 असाइन किया है फीमेल को, तो इससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. ठीक है ना. इधर आप 1 फीमेल को असाइन करें या 1 मेल को असाइन करें, इट इज जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन. ठीक है ना. इसमें नंबर आगे हो या पीछे हो, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. आप एक एग्जांपल ले लें, कार रेस की एग्जांपल ले लें. जैसे कार रेस होती है, इसमें डिफरेंट कार को डिफरेंट नंबर्स दिए होते हैं जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन. जो कमेंटेटर होता है वो बता रहा होता है कि लाइक नंबर 5 की कार इस वक्त सबसे आगे जा रही है, नंबर 4 की कार इस वक्त जो है वो सेकंड लास्ट पे जा रही है, राइट. तो वो क्या होता है कि वो जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन होता है. हॉर्सेज होते हैं कि हॉर्स नंबर 4 घोड़ा, पहले नंबर का घोड़ा जो है वो इस वक्त जो है वो तीसरे नंबर पे रन कर रहा है, लाइक उसकी जो पोजीशन है वो 3rd है, लेकिन उसको नंबर जो असाइन किया गया है वो नंबर 1 है या नंबर 10 है या जो भी है. ठीक है ना. तो वो क्या होता है? नॉमिनल स्केल होता है जस्ट फॉर द आइडेंटिफिकेशन. ठीक है. इस तरह ऑर्डिनल होता है. ऑर्डिनल में क्या होता है? रैंक ऑर्डर होता है, यानी कि आप रैंकिंग करते हैं. तो रैंकिंग कैन बी फर्स्ट प्लेस, सेकंड प्लेस, थर्ड प्लेस. ये रैंकिंग जो है वो किसी रेस की रैंकिंग हो सकती है, किसी कंपटीशन की रैंकिंग हो सकती है, स्कूल के रिजल्ट्स की रैंकिंग हो सकती है, किसी कोर्स के अंदर जो भी आपका रिजल्ट आया, क्विज का रिजल्ट आया, इसकी रैंकिंग हो सकती है. या फिर अगर आप चीज़ों को रैंक करना चाह रहे हैं कि भाई कौन सी चीज़ जो है वो लोग सबसे ज़्यादा पसंद करते हैं, इसके बाद कौन सी चीज़ पसंद करते हैं, इसके बाद 3rd नंबर पे कौन सी चीज़ पसंद करते हैं, ये सब किस में आ जाएंगे? ऑर्डिनल स्केल में आ जाएंगे या रैंक ऑर्डर के अंदर आ जाएंगे. ठीक है जी. देन आपके पास है इंटरवल. ठीक है. इंटरवल में क्या होता है? इंटरवल में आप क्या करते हैं कि एक पर्टिकुलर रेटिंग दे देते हैं कि भाई 0 से 10 तक है, राइट. परफॉर्मेंस हो गई कि भाई इसकी परफॉर्मेंस अगर है, आप इसको रेट करना चाहते हैं 0 से 10 के दरमियान या 0 से 100 के दरमियान, तो इसको कहाँ पे रेट करेंगे आप? उसको मतलब आउट ऑफ 10 कितने देंगे या आउट ऑफ 100 कितने देंगे? तो इट इज़ कॉल्ड द इंटरवल, क्योंकि इसमें आपने क्या किया है कि 0 से 100 का बता दिया, इस रेंज से बाहर नहीं निकल सकता. अगर कोई 110 देना चाहे तो वो नहीं दे सकता. 100 की अगर आपने रेंज दी, तो अगर आपने 10 की रेंज दी तो वो 10 से बाहर नहीं जा सकता। इस तरह आपको ध्यान में रखना है इसको, ठीक है। रेशियो स्केल में क्या होता है, रेशियो स्केल में कोई मतलब इसमें कोई इंटरवल नहीं होता है, लेकिन जो भी इसका यूनिट होगा वो डायरेक्टली यूनिट यूज कर लेंगे। अब अगर आप टाइम को मेजर कर रहे हैं तो टाइम को मेजर करने के लिए सेकंड्स हो सकते हैं, मिनट्स यूज हो सकते हैं, आवर्स यूज हो सकते हैं। इसी तरह अगर आप वेट को मैनेज कर वेट को देखना चाह रहे हैं तो कोई भी वेट के जो भी आपके यूनिट्स हैं वो यूज हो सकते हैं। इट मीन्स के इसके अंदर आपके पास जो है वो कोई रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं होती है, और ये जनरल सी चीज़ होती है, लाइक वेट हो गया, टेम्परेचर हो गया, डिस्टेंस हो गया। इन सब चीज़ों को देखने के लिए जो है वो हम लोग रेशियो स्केल यूज कर रहे होते हैं, ठीक है जी। ये हमारा पहला सेशन जो है वो अभी खत्म हो रहा है, बिकॉज वी हैव लेस देन 1 मिनट। सो अभी ये डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएगा, इसके बाद आई विल बी शेयरिंग द नेक्स्ट link with you guys, right? So after 2 or 3 minutes, I will be sharing, because I will take a break of a little bit, 2 3 minutes. Then I will share the second link. Okay.